Hello, welcome to Thanks Academy, the podcast where we watch all the best picture winners in random order with random friends. And today's random friend is Duncan Carson.
Hey folks.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Karina?
I am very tired.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm hoping this is not a boring movie we're about to watch.
I have no idea.
Or this might be the first episode where it's just you awkwardly saying, so Karina's asleep.
Do you fall asleep at the movies?
Not often, unless it's, okay, the kind of movie that puts me to sleep, and this is a confession, is a war movie. That's why I'm a little bit scared.
Shit.
I don't know
Okay.
why war movies bore me.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm just not into them. That's why I haven't seen most of them. And that's what we're watching today is Platoon from 1988.
Directed by Oliver Stone.
Really?
Am I making that up?
I don't know.
You don't
I know
know.
zero things about Platoon.
Okay, yeah, that's...
Everything I thought I knew about Platoon was dispelled when I just loaded it up right now and saw the poster and realized it wasn't Apocalypse Now. So
Okay, well that I have seen, so...
yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Very different is my understanding, but I haven't seen it. It was...
So it was directed by Oliver Stone?
I'm pretty sure it was.
I knew he wrote it. Didn't he write something that won an Oscar first? I'm not up on my Oliver Stone either.
You're putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
Something about the 80s, I'm blank. Like, I was born in 1984.
Right.
So I didn't like do all the research on those movies.
Because why would you?
Why would I?
Yeah.
They were like, I'm big into 70s movies for some reason.
Right.
Because that's when movies became cool, but the 80s are like, bah.
I have a theory about the 70s.
Oh,
Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
All right. I have a theory that boys love the 70s, movies-wise.
Okay.
And women not so much. Like, whenever I hear people talk about 70s cinema, men get mostly gaga about it and will rattle off the, dozen or so classics from the era that are all gangsters, war, and just New York being a shitty place to live.
Oh, okay. Can I let you in on something?
Yeah.
It's a big, I'm not that into it, and it's fun to not be into something everybody loves.
Yep.
Only movie that's ever put me to sleep, Godfather. Like 4 times I tried to watch Godfather. That and like Fellini's 8.5, where I'm just like, I don't care. Who cares? But it is, I'm ashamed. I fell asleep multiple times trying to watch Godfather.
Have you attempted the second, or are you like, I got to get that first one under my belt?
I eventually watched the second too. It just took a long, long time for me to get it. And I still sort of get it, but don't get like the all-time, thing.
Yeah, I've been yelled at because I'm doing random order by Mike McRae. He said, well, if Godfather 2 comes up before Godfather 1, don't do that.
What's the difference? I mean, sure, okay.
Because he said I'd be robbing myself of an experience. But now I'm like, well, Duncan fell asleep. It's like maybe the experience is to do it backwards.
And I was going to say earlier, I was trying to think when you said I fall asleep in the movies. I've rarely, if ever, fallen asleep in something I haven't seen before.
Right.
That's
true. Yeah.
I'll put on like Wall-E or Gattaca to fall asleep. Like sleepy movies.
Wait, how many times have you seen Gattaca?
I mean, it was on Hulu for a while. It was literally on Hulu, and I noticed it was helping me fall asleep. I like that movie. It's just really sleepy and dumb.
But Hulu is like you actively push play. Like I remember I saw Tin Cup starring
on
Rene Russo and Kevin Costner. It's a golf movie.
Classic golf movie.
I'm into none of those things. But for whatever reason, Tin Cup charms me every time I see it. And so I've seen it maybe a dozen times. Never put me to sleep, but it was on TNT all the time.
Right.
And like it would just be there.
That's like
I would never push play on Tin Cup at this point. I've seen it.
There's a generational cable movie effect.
Yeah.
For like Castaway is one that hit me.
Really?
At the right point in time. I've never voluntarily watched Castaway, like hit play.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, but I've seen Castaway many times.
I had no idea Castaway ever hit cable. It seemed like one of those mythical movies that was always too good for it.
Can you, have you seen it?
Yes.
Can you imagine just flipping channels? Well, there's Tom Hanks with the crazy beard. At any point in the...
Yeah.
Bashing his tooth out, anything with the volleyball,
anything
obviously.
With the volleyball is what you'd be waiting for, right?
It's one of these movies I could list almost scene by scene, even though I didn't like it that much. And I wouldn't defend it against its detractors.
I mean, is that your only cable movie? Do we each get one? Because Tin Cup's definitely mine.
I feel like there's enough. Like that was my gut instinct example, and I'm sure there are many others. But it's been a long time since I actually had cable.
When I was very young, HBO fell in love with Harry and the Hendersons.
Sure.
And I ended up watching that a bunch of times. And then my mom loved the movie, so we taped it on her VHS player.
Whoa.
And then we would pop that in every once in a while.
Okay.
And then I recently made my kids rewatch it because this was one of my favorite movies as a child, and it bonded me with my mother.
Bad news.
Yeah. Not a good movie.
Not good.
Does not capture the imagination of today's youth at all. They had a lot of questions.
There's a couple of things I refuse to rewatch from my childhood because I don't want that to happen.
Like what?
Like the 1985 Flight of the Navigator.
Oh yeah, that's not a.
I didn't realize until much later
Yep.
that Pee Wee Herman is the voice of the ship.
I had no idea.
I just watched it not knowing that.
Yeah.
Super into it as a kid.
I mean, it's not Paul Rubens doing Pee Wee, right? It's him doing something else.
He's in my memory, when I found that fact, I was like, oh yeah, it fucking was.
It's kind of Pee Wee-ish.
He's really just doing Pee Wee as a sentient spaceship from the future.
Yeah, I remember that as a kid.
Sure.
It has that like Yahoo moment that, unfortunately, I did show my children Star Wars Episode 1.
Oof.
And it was their favorite of the prequel trilogy, and especially all the Anakin stuff.
I mean,
it was kind of heartbreaking.
I'm sure it's a good kids movie. I have no way of knowing.
I know, none of us do. But yeah, so she's like a huge Jar Jar and baby Anakin fan. I know.
Boy,
so George Lucas was right.
You bet you can find some cheap Jar Jar merchandise out there. Like real discount bin stuff.
It hasn't been buried next to like the E.T. game cartridges in the desert.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Well, what do we think Platoon's about? Which war? I'm guessing Vietnam.
I think it's about Vietnam.
Because it was the 80s, and that's when we were obsessed with figuring out what the hell was up with Vietnam.
It was still fresh, I guess.
My memory of Vietnam movies in the 80s is restricted mostly to Stallone.
Sure.
But also others, like Desert Eagle, I want to say. Iron Eagle. There's a lot of like war-ish cable movies about Vietnam. And they were mostly us trying to figure out a way to win the war retroactively. Like, is there a way now that Reagan's in charge that we can feel good about this?
Yeah, that sort of American exceptionalism applied to the movies.
Yeah, we may have lost a bunch of battles and millions of lives and accomplished nothing, but that one... we can just make up a story about one person who did really well.
Just individual heroes. You got Forrest Gump. And,
exactly. There's a movie I'm gonna have to tackle on this podcast.
Oh, that would have been a great one. Although you have to. Is every episode you have to find somebody that hasn't seen it?
Yes, I will allow a movie that you saw when it came out, but it's been a decade or more.
Okay.
And that's the only time.
There's got to be some that are nearly impossible.
And then like brand new ones. Well, I don't know. Brand new ones are actually not as hard because you don't get around to everything.
Look at it like, for example, Forrest Gump might take you a while to.
Forrest Gump, I'm holding out hope for. Titanic, I have no hope.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
You'll find somebody that hasn't seen Titanic since it came out.
Maybe, if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody saw Titanic 4 times when it came out.
True.
That's how it got.
I saw it in the Dollar Theater many times.
Yeah.
Because if you're a parent that only wants to spend $1 and not have to see your kids for 3 hours.
Yeah, totally. I saw Jurassic Park 5 times in theaters.
Oh.
Not as much of a bargain because I believe that clocks in well under 2 hours, but...
Sure.
Yeah.
I love Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah.
Too bad it won't be on your list.
I could just put it there. See if anybody notices.
Can we just swap it out for Schindler's List? I mean...
Hey, same director. I mean, spiritually.
That's why everybody loves... That's the whole... Is like, well, look at him doing those both in the same year. What a master of modern... But how often do you rewatch Schindler's List?
Yep.
Let's be honest.
Well, I'm going to rewatch it at some point.
That's true.
I've seen it twice. Once when it came out in theaters because it was important, and then again a year later in a school setting because it was important. I don't think I ever saw it for pleasure.
In 1994, I was 10 years old. My dad did take me to Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
But not Schindler's List.
He did not take you to Schindler's List?
Did not take me to Schindler's List.
Okay.
I don't know why. In retrospect,
You were 10 years old?
I would take my kid to Schindler's List.
I would start with Jurassic Park.
Sure.
I wouldn't not take my kid to Jurassic Park.
I like the double drive-in.
And then I'd like watch carefully the whole like dinosaur eating a lawyer scene to kind of gauge if they're ready for Nazis. Just kind of see which side they take, how horrified they are, that kind of thing. You know.
Boy. Vietnam War.
Vietnam War.
I know Charlie Sheen's in it.
Oh, sweet. Wait, is this a comedy?
No.
Oh. Damn.
I know there's a lot of young people that you're like, oh, hey.
Okay.
That went on to do stuff. And that is about as far as I go.
All right, well, this is exciting. This is like a real newbie watch. All right, let's dive in. I kind of miss this Orion logo. It felt like it used to be on every movie.
I love when somebody does the old Universal logo. Even the ones that predate me, I'm like, yeah.
Even if it's like a fake out.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing I hate more than a movie that starts off with no or very quiet sound, because I never know where to put the volume.
Oh, you gotta test it for levels?
Well, just for us.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah, dude.
Is this Adagio in G?
Yeah.
Tom Berenger from,
Things.
No, the baseball movie, Major League.
Ah.
Willem Dafoe.
Boom.
Oh, I'm excited.
Wait for it.
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen.
Also from Major League.
It's a real Major League pre-union.
Can we... Please give us Wesley Snipes.
Platoon. I feel like this is one of those things that it's been parodied so many times, but people getting shot and falling to Adagio in G.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's been used in like 95 trailers.
I think Platoon broke the seal.
Okay. Is this where they say they love the smell of shit? Napalm in the morning? Is that this movie?
Still Apocalypse Now.
Oh, God.
Everything you're thinking of is Apocalypse Now. Which is, you know what's that when you were like, Vietnam movies, it's just Apocalypse Now and Forrest Gump in my head.
Yeah.
That's all I got. I know I've seen others. They made no impression.
Yeah, now that I think about it, all those 80s movies I thought took place in Vietnam,
Yeah.
I think they were just Vietnam vets who were like ultra violent, and that was their explanation for why.
Okay.
And then they would go kickbox people.
This is a straight up Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp?
Boom.
You've got to be kidding me.
I feel like I heard that and I was like, let's save that for the...
This was 1988. He was leading man material by then.
Corky Ford?
Oh.
No.
Somebody...
Classic. Officer no one respects.
And it's Duck Phillips.
Mwah. Perfect.
They seem higher than the people in the opium den.
What the fuck? Well, there's this movie. They're all like, we're gonna not introduce one main character at a time and be all boring and non-narrative at the beginning because that's what war is like, right?
Yeah, you just get to know everybody at once.
Right, but then when they actually start talking, it's like the shittiest dialogue, laden with exposition. But they're all just like 70s, the movie.
God. Everybody's on the nose.
What? Jesus is Lord.
Yeah, he would write that in English for sure.
Well, I've got a generic comment on your Jesus shrine I've known about this whole time. Because we've been at war for quite some time.
No.
Whoa.
So let's see, we got good guys and bad guys now. Charlie Sheen went from he got through anger management classes. He's a good guy now.
Right.
Johnny Depp seems like a good guy, and he's a translator. Willem Dafoe's a good guy.
Willem Dafoe.
John McGinley, kind of on the fence.
McGinley seems like at heart a good guy.
Yeah, like he doesn't want to see atrocities.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think Forrest Whitaker has been flashed on the good guy face.
Oh, maybe.
But everybody else seems like a monster.
Who got a rise? Oh, he's not dead.
Back down there!
Hey! No fucking way, dude.
Whoa.
You're gonna pick him up? He's like 20 paces ahead of him.
Dude.
Oh, okay.
Well, now he's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I mean, unless he's the Terminator.
Have you seen Rushmore?
Yeah.
I've been thinking of that play at the end quite a bit.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
You okay?
Like if you when Wes Anderson wrote that, and he just wrote like placeholder, way too on point Vietnam War dialogue.
He probably just lifted.
You could there's
Platoon.
so many scenes for Platoon where just like,
Yeah.
because if you're not on it, I'm gonna be.
Okay. You only, now you got 9 minutes.
Even John C. McGinley couldn't save that line.
And he tried to put the eyes on it and everything.
John C. McGinley, who single-handedly made 9 years of Scrubs not terrible.
I think that was just supposed to be a cool line.
And why would he expect mercy from a literal crazy person?
Yeah, I know. Well, because I guess he's been a sycophant and...
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
No, get on the helicopter. Okay, I didn't see that part. I feel like it's Charlie Sheen gonna spread like eye black under his eyes and go shit. Oh no, wait, that's Apocalypse Now. Oh, his dad's in Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, I was about to point. I was Martin Sheen being the main character in Apocalypse Now.
That's why it keeps flashing me back.
What?
As I'm sure Elias will be. Fighting with Barnes for what Ron called possession of my soul.
Yeah, it was all about you, buddy.
I don't think so, man.
Yeah.
There are times since I felt like a child born of those two fathers.
It's not how any of that works.
Nope.
But be that as it may,
That is...
Be that as it
we have
may.
an obligation to build again.
With what?
To teach to others what we know.
Oh, about what?
And to try with what's left of our lives.
Yeah.
To find a goodness and meaning to this life.
I don't think you learned anything.
No.
No.
Not to sign up for war. But I already knew that.
Yeah. And we're back. Oh.
That was a war movie.
We did it.
It was definitely a movie about a war.
About Vietnam.
Definitely about Vietnam.
I don't think we learned much about Vietnam. Or like the Vietnam War. You know what I mean?
No, not a thing at all.
There's not a single goddamn thing.
They were... The plot? Ugh. Charlie Sheen signs up for Vietnam
Yeah.
because he's an idiot.
He's rich. He's a rich kid. We got that.
Yeah. He doesn't talk to his parents.
And they wanted him to go to college and be respectable.
Yeah.
But he joined the fight in Vietnam voluntarily.
Right. So he gets there and immediately finds out it sucks.
Yeah.
And it does.
Yeah.
He's in a platoon. I think that's what it's called.
He's in a platoon.
That has 2 sergeants.
3 sergeants.
3 sergeants.
Because you got Willem Dafoe, the
Yeah.
good guy.
The good. Yeah.
What's his name?
Tom Berenger.
Tom Berenger, the evil guy.
Definitely evil.
And John C. McGinley, the sniveling. He was a sergeant as well.
Oh, that's right. The middle manager. Let's call
Yeah,
him.
the kind of the brown noser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Duck Phillips.
Doug Phillips is the
The
actual lieutenant. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so good sergeant and evil sergeant don't like each other.
No. And this, I just want anyone that hasn't. It seems like we were not paying good attention, but the movie was just very, very. It didn't make any effort to be like, this character is the lieutenant and his name is this, and these sergeants are of differing viewpoints about. There's very little.
We worked so hard to get to the level of knowledge about Act 1 and Act 2 that we just shared. There's some horrific atrocities that evil sergeant and his kind of evil henchmen commit.
Yeah. Oh wait, so are we trying to recap the whole plot?
Yeah, I'm just trying to
Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
Young new rich kid soldier immediately regrets it, which that's just revelatory. Imagine that.
That was really compelling to see.
Oh, right.
Right.
It is kind of fun in the beginning where he just immediately vomits in the first scene you see him in.
Yeah.
And then faints when they try to get him back up.
Faints because he got bit by an ant.
Pretty much, yeah. There's bugs on his neck.
And he can't handle it.
And then the first actual battle, he gets grazed in the neck. And he I feel like Forrest Whitaker is holding him and he's like, "Dying ain't so bad." And they were just like, "You're fine.
You're fine."
But it's not even played for laughs.
No, not at all. In fact, I didn't know he was grazed in the neck. I thought he got shot in the stomach or something.
A medic comes by and he's like, it's a scratch.
I
You're
missed
fine.
that.
Here, just press this on it.
There was so much noise, so much bang bang.
Yeah, it is somewhat incoherent during the battles, I gotta say.
Yeah, I think one of the things this movie might have been appreciated for was that the depiction of what it felt like to be in the war seemed relatively realistic. If you strip the dialogue away...
That is true, yeah.
The dialogue sucked. But if you strip that away, it seemed I felt like I was in a war.
That's
I wanted to get out of there.
Because, part of me watching it wants to complain where I'm like, this night set firefight in the Vietnamese jungle is hard to follow. But it would be were you a soldier as well. It would be terrifying and confusing.
It was a terrifying, confusing movie, start to finish.
So
yeah.
So it's it just seems like a general ooh, war is hell type of thing.
Yeah.
For a while, because it's it rains all the time and Vietnam sucked, and then they get stoned and listen to White Rabbit, like you did,
like you do.
Which I feel like already in 1988 is isn't that a cliche?
Not as much of a cliche as the fact that we heard Adagio and G 19 times in this movie.
Several times.
Ugh, it's half the movie.
We
heard that more than we heard The Entertainer and The Sting, and that's saying something.
Wow. Who did the Sting episode?
Who got lucky with the Sting episode?
Love
Lisa Friedrich.
Love the fucking Sting. Love it.
Oh, we hated it.
You hated it?
This podcast has a way of making me and the guest hate whatever we watch.
Okay, that's
I
fair.
don't know if it's the format or what. Maybe it's my room.
That's fair. Well, I feel like Platoon is just a boring slog of a war movie.
Yeah, I didn't hate it.
For anybody,
I wish I hadn't seen it.
Yeah,
It's
not for me. I think that's clear.
I think people adore this. Don't people quote this movie, or am I thinking about Apocalypse Now again?
I think you're thinking about Apocalypse Now because there's not a single goddamn line that made any sense in Platoon. I mean, or there's not a single line that sounded like a human being would speak.
Yeah.
They were all just horrible cliche or things.
I'm just gonna look up something because I'm curious about this whole Oliver Stone part.
What did he actually?
I feel like this was what put him on the map, which would make sense. It won Best Picture, and the direction, I'll give it that. Yeah, that's what I liked about it.
It was well made.
The screenplay kind of sucked.
Yeah.
The direction was kind of amazing.
It's very puts you there, and the firefights are gripping and they're incoherent.
Yep.
Confusion. That battle at the end, oof, that was great stuff.
Okay, it was. Yeah. So he wrote Scarface. I didn't know that. So that put him on the map, but then this was what got him.
You write Scarface, you get a blank check to do something.
Yeah.
He did this.
A while later, stuff happened in between.
Oh, sure. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
but this was his first big directing thing.
Did he serve in Vietnam? Can we?
Probably. Let me check.
Seems like a thing, right? Oliver Stone himself cameoed as an officer.
Yeah.
In the last big firefight.
Got blown up.
And then he immediately gets blown up, which I thought was.
His parents were in World War II.
Sure. The main character says his father
often spent summer vacations in France.
Okay.
He made Wall Street. I didn't know that.
Yep.
There we go. He enlisted in the U.S. Army to request combat duty in Vietnam. So this is a biographical movie.
Oh my God.
Yep. Yep. He served in the 2nd Platoon.
Yeah.
Which is what this is, and was twice wounded in action. Okay, so this is a Mary Sue movie.
Jesus.
Charlie Sheen is Oliver Stone.
He really did that, and he can't have the character explain it any better than like Charlie Sheen's vague, like, oh, I figure, why should it only work out shitty for the poor kids? 'Cause that's how it works.
What?
What the fuck, man?
The thing... Okay, so he got, all the awards for that.
Yeah.
So the movie, though, the plot has several war crimes happen, which it's Vietnam, so it's not like a shocking thing to see that they're
okay, but so like they're in the jungle,
yeah,
and they're just having a miserable time, and there's literally 2 scenes where the Viet Cong do like shady shit,
kill 2 people,
or like guerrilla tactics, right?
Individually.
There's one booby trap, and
Yep.
a guy gets his arms blown off. Very sad.
That wasn't on purpose. Well, I mean, it's on purpose in the sense that they set a booby trap, but
Right.
they could have been long gone.
And then my favorite part of the next, where they're like, "Where's what's his name, Manning?"
Mayonnaise. Oh, mayonnaise. Manning. Yeah.
They're like, "Where's Manning?" We're like, "Which one's Manning?" And then they find him like strung up horribly by the Viet Cong. We're like, "Oh, that guy."
That guy.
So after these 2, granted, very unsettling things,
Sure.
they immediately go full on war crime.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, we're gonna torture all the Cambodian villagers because we suspect them of harboring the NVA.
Yeah.
And this rice, you're holding it for them, and weapons." And crazy Scarface Tom Berenger shoots an old lady.
Yeah.
In cold blood.
Then he's got sort of like, I guess the platoon's sort of split informally in half between
Sure.
the sergeants. I know there's a 3rd sergeant, but McGinley just seems to hang around evil sergeant.
Right. Well, it's like each sergeant has a squad,
Yeah.
and then those squads make up a platoon. I'm not an expert on this.
I don't, it seems like regardless of how the lieutenant splits them up, there's
Right.
like people who like Barnes, evil guy,
Right.
and people who like Elias, good guy, and I don't think it has to do with how they were like picked.
Right.
I think it's just like you're either
Right.
bad or you're good, right?
Oh, and it's made clear through several scenes that the Doug Phillips, or Mark Moses is the actor's name.
Okay.
There's like a lieutenant that nobody respects or trusts.
He's very bad at lieutenanting.
Because he's very incompetent. So everybody listens to the Willem Dafoe, the sergeants.
The 2, yeah.
Yeah, and that's like a recurring theme in several war movies, I feel like.
It makes sense. The sergeant's usually the one who's seen the most shit.
Right. They've been serving for several years, and everybody trusts them more.
Yeah.
So
in the village, the peaceful village where the lion slept that night, Barnes murders a woman.
Yeah.
And then his people, the people who think like him, rape a small child, or they try to before Charlie Sheen stops them.
Well, so like, they're trying to get this dude, I don't know, the village elder, whatever, or the only dude they can find. They're trying to say like, well, where are the NVA? And he won't admit anything because he probably doesn't know anything. So they shoot his wife or mother. I couldn't really tell.
I think wife.
Sure.
Yeah, because then
And then crazy Scarface guy's like, oh, let's shoot his daughter next.
Yeah.
And at this point, Willem Dafoe intervenes and tackles them.
Shows up and sees what's going on, and then there's Civil War.
Yeah.
And it's like Iron Man, Captain America, except one of them's clearly bad this time.
And this spurs most of the rest of the plot.
Yeah.
Right? As a side note, Charlie Sheen's character stops the rape mid-happening.
Yes.
And it's never spoken of again.
Never. It's just there to prove that he's on good sergeant's side.
Right, they're both good guys. Now we know.
Now we know they're good guys. So, yeah, then there's fighting.
Boom, boom. Explosions.
Lots of fighting. And at one point, through complicated machineries of war tactics that we vaguely puzzled out.
I know the scene where they're like, you do this, you do that, and like there's gunfire, and you're like, I guess.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe's gonna go flank them, and evil Scarface Sergeant is gonna lead the other assault.
They're supposed to be working together.
Right, obviously.
But as soon as Willem Dafoe goes alone into the jungle, Scarface pulls everybody back into a retreat so he can go off and shoot Willem Dafoe all by himself, which he does.
He shoots him in the chest.
Shoots him good.
Yeah.
But not good enough.
Yeah, right. Well, he shoots him and he's like, "Oh, that guy's dead," to Charlie Sheen, and Charlie Sheen's like, "Really? Where is he?" And he's like, "Oh, he's dead.
He's super dead.
He's too far over there. We gotta go."
Yeah, he's far away. He's in heaven.
It's not even like a well-crafted.
He doesn't even lie.
Story.
He doesn't say he got killed.
He doesn't say.
He just said he's dead.
That's true.
Yeah.
So then they're taking off. They're retreating in a helicopter, and they see Willem Dafoe.
Yep.
Heroically.
Yeah.
Still running away from
just 4 paces ahead of the Viet Cong.
The Viet Cong. And I think that scene is probably the most famous adagio in G.
Yeah.
With the da-da-da, and he's dropping to his knees.
If you know anything about Platoon, which I realized after seeing the scene, I knew that one thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's the scene of Willem Dafoe getting shot in the back while he looks like he's praying.
Right. Yeah. Arms up.
Yeah.
The weirdest part about that is they're like, "Oh, he's not dead," and they kind of circle back.
Yep.
And like shoot at the Vietnamese pursuing him.
Yes.
But then they still then they leave.
Well, it wasn't good enough. Like they took out some Viet Cong, but like he still got shot in the back.
But I just mean they're like
way too many times.
They're like, "Ooh, let's draw it out for him a little bit."
Yeah.
They can't save him.
No.
But they're like, "Oh,
we can make this painful.
Yeah.
We can tease him with hope."
Yeah.
So that last shot really.
Mostly teasing us, the viewers, with hope.
Oh, was that what that was? Because I had no hope.
I mean, I was pretty sure.
Yeah, I really didn't think that was going to work out.
Anyway, Charlie Sheen now knows evil Scarface Sergeant was lying.
Yep.
He wasn't dead. And why would he lie? Oh, probably because he shot him, etc. To not get court-martialed for shooting the old lady. So,
covered his tracks.
Yeah, so then there's a really, really terrible scene where Charlie Sheen is going to all of Willem Dafoe's old buddies because, they all used to smoke weed and opium and shit together.
Was there opium?
I don't know, I guess
those long pipes.
There was just a long pipe
opium.
at some point.
Yeah.
That it could have been. I mean, Vietnamese, didn't they have like poppy fields?
Yeah.
I'm sketchy on the facts.
I have no idea.
Anyway.
It could have been that they just invented marijuana.
Right. They're like, he's like, we should kill evil Scarface guy because he's evil. And then evil Scarface guy is like listening.
Yeah, he's just sitting in the doorway
he's
like,
you
right
guys talking about the hut.
He literally says, "You guys talking about killing?"
Yeah.
I'll tell you something about killing. And they're like, "Oh no, he was right there behind you."
Tom Berenger. And he just goes on this weird monologue.
Yeah, he invites them to kill him.
And yeah, nobody can do it.
Charlie Sheen tries.
He holds a knife to his face.
Doesn't do a good job.
And then he says, "What do you know about death?"
Yeah.
Nothing. And we're just like, "You just killed their friend, so
yeah,
like a little." And they watched you kill innocent people, so
yeah. It was at this point that it was very clear to me there were no surprises left, and there weren't any surprises.
There really weren't
coming, except for the level of atrocity. Like when they're depicting the raid of the village, I was genuinely like, "Oh my god, this is going dark."
Right.
Like all the way dark.
Sure.
I mean, they all but kill a child, point blank.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, and I'm still like, this movie felt longer than 2 hours, but now as we're describing the plot, I'm just like, how did it take that long?
Yeah.
Then there's a lot more movie of walking around and
a lot more bang bang,
shooting stuff, and then there's just a big battle at the end.
Yep.
Where fucking chaos happens. Most people get shot or killed. Charlie Sheen goes nuts, right? He
goes Rambo.
He's crazy Rambo all of a sudden. After being like a piece of shit the whole movie.
Oh, as a soldier, he was dog shit.
He's a terrible soldier.
Yeah, very bad.
He like fainted.
Yeah, Oliver Stone, if you're going to make yourself a Mary Sue,
right?
Make yourself a good shot at least.
And then in the fracas at the end, evil Scarface guy is like, he got shot in the leg, but he's just like crawling around stabbing dudes.
Yep.
And Charlie Sheen's like, "Oh, hey, stop." I don't know. Why does he grab him in the first place? I think he's trying to like save him or something.
I think he was just flipping him over.
Okay. But he's like yelling out. He's like, "Barnes," which is the evil guy's name.
Yeah.
And then Barnes just turns around with a crazy look in his face and he's trying to like stab him with something. And then napalm blows up and
somehow the bomb
the whole
lands
place
on both of them and half kills Scarface and slightly chars.
Yeah. Charlie Sheen just gets like right face scarred up and looks all badass. Really.
He just gets a light dusting of.
Yeah.
ashes or napalm or whatever.
Or he's got that like just black and red sort of all over his face and arm that you often see in war movies where you're like, how much of that is soot and how much is like an injury?
Right. It seemed, at least in this movie, because of the way it was shot, when they got dirty, it was authentically dirty.
Sure.
Not just like makeup dirty. But whatever.
Oh, and then he finds Scarface guy crawling on the ground.
Yeah.
Still not dead.
In the morning.
Yeah.
When everybody except those two are dead, basically.
And he shoots him.
And he commits his own war crime.
Leading to a terrible monologue at the end, where he's like, I just consider myself a child born of those two fathers, the good sergeant and the bad sergeant.
No.
And the war lives within me to this day. And I'm like, I don't think it... I think you should really just, if you feel both of theirs, listen to the good one.
So here's my question.
Sure.
Now that you know the story, listeners, you can ponder this at home. And there's probably documentation of this because I have a feeling Oliver Stone is a very well-covered individual,
sure,
given all he's done. If this is his story, is he low-key trying to tell us that
he killed a guy?
He killed a guy who committed some war crimes, or was he just adding some plot to his rather horrendous Vietnam experience that involved getting wounded?
I don't know. Without now I would like to research it, but...
Right, because...
I feel like he's not going to straight up say, I shot a dude.
Yeah, and I mean, like...
crawling on the ground.
The main character's name was Chris, so he was changing some names.
Yeah.
His main character's name wasn't Oliver. That would have been a bit... And everything else in this movie was on the nose, so at least he made an attempt. And you got to assume that with this platoon was huge. What were there, like 30 people in this thing?
There's a lot of people in this thing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've seen other where there's actually so many more squads in a platoon.
Yeah.
There's like 2 companies at least.
There's a lot of
those
people.
Are made up of a certain number of squads. It makes sense. There's a lot of characters.
But he's got them all kind of fully realized, and you assume most of them are based on real people.
I mean, when you say fully realized...
For the amount of screen time they get, they each have like a name and a thing to do.
I guess.
And you know who they are.
Oh, like the southern guy named Tex.
Well, that's standard shit.
Or
here's my point. Compared to
Keith David's character, who within like one scene, I think, would say things that embodied like several different types of black cliche.
Yeah.
Like things to say. Like he was just wise beyond his years, like Keith David.
He was speaking very... he was trying real hard to sound black.
Here's what I think this was, is Oliver Stone went to Vietnam.
Sure did.
In the same manner as the main character.
Yep.
And then maybe it's autobiography, like he was a terrible soldier that complained immediately.
I'm sure he was.
And then...
I'm sure everybody was.
Heard about the war crimes and wanted to incorporate that. And then also wrote thinly sketched caricatures of everyone else because he had no friends and spoke to nobody. Because we said this during the movie.
Yeah.
Everybody says the most cliche war/70s thing that it is possible for them to say at every moment. And I'm like, do you have no memories of actual conversations?
And I'm not like a huge Oliver Stone fan or aficionado, but I've seen some of his movies, and I feel like dialogue has not stood out as being bad before. This is the first one. Like, The Door, if I think back on The Doors, Natural Born Killers, Scarface, Wall Street, there's another one in there that's really Born on the 4th of July. Some of those movies vary in quality.
Boy, you know what
JFK? I've seen a lot of Oliver Stone movies.
It turns out I've only seen Scarface.
Okay. Well, I've seen all of those, and I've never sat back at the end and thought, boy, the dialogue was shit.
Right. Well, I feel...
I did.
But I feel like it's a situation where a lot of those movies, there's a lot of dialogue discussing the plot.
It's just plot, yeah.
Because, like, Scarface burns through a shit ton of plot.
Oh, they all do. I mean, that's what Oliver Stone is. It's conspiracy theory plus plot.
Right, but this Platoon has very little plot. So
it's true.
And it's I think it's trying to... A lot of its novel appeal, like we were saying, is that it's just soldiers talking like soldiers, man.
But
you know?
But that was not good at that.
But they're not talking like human people at war.
I feel like I've heard or read even just like confining myself to the Vietnam War, if I think of like Thin Red Line, or I read The Things They Carried a couple times. That's a really amazing book.
Great book.
You get a better feel for like how people were talking,
right?
And the kind of the lingo and the attitude. This just sounded fake, which is strange because this was such an authentic experience for him to be covering.
And it was so realistically made.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But just no.
And we turned on the subtitles at one point, and that I think is what really solidified our opinion. Because before then it was just mishmash yelling.
Kinda, yeah.
And then once we saw what the lines actually were, it was not good.
It was not good.
I wonder if people didn't notice in like the day or in general because they're not watching it with subtitles on. And when you don't, it's just a lot of like, hey, we're gonna go over there,
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it was like quite engrossing to see in the theater when it came out. I mean, I can, it's definitely like it's got a Best Picture vibe to it.
Yeah, I can see why it was nominated. I don't know what it was up against,
but it's almost like how can you take that main character seriously in his voiceover, like, just fucking war, man. It makes even the cliches I'm trying to think of are from other stuff that's better.
Right.
It's just like, Charlie Sheen, what did you learn over the course of this movie? A, war is hell. Could have told you that. B, don't commit war crimes. Right? War crimes are bad.
War crimes are the worst.
Unless
you are executing somebody who has committed a war crime. And then you're just expediting military justice. I feel like that was the moral, right?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's another...
Oh, I've been misspeaking. I thought it was 88. It's 86.
Oh, this whole time?
Yeah. Okay, here's what it beat.
What did it beat?
A Room with a View.
Ooh, I have not seen that.
Merchant Ivory. The Mission, which is a very slow movie. Hannah and Her Sisters, which I've vaguely heard of.
I've heard as like that's one of the best Woody Allen dramatic things.
Oh, gross! It's Woody Allen. Okay.
And
then Children of a Lesser God, which I think Marlee Matlin won for that, right?
She did.
Yeah.
She did win an Oscar for that. I've not seen any of those movies.
Just even by reputation alone, not stiff competition. That's not a year where like they all stood the test of time.
Yeah. What's Room with the View? Is that Hopkins?
Yeah, I think
Emma
so.
Thompson?
Because it's Merchant Ivory.
I would just give it to that by default, without having seen the rest.
Because of Anthony Hopkins or because of Merchant Ivory?
Well, it's like based on a Ishiguro novel.
No, that's Remains of the Day.
Oh, what am I thinking? Okay.
Yeah, you're thinking of Remains of the Day, which was a fantastic movie.
Either way, it has like dialogue.
It must be a very young Helena Bonham Carter.
Oh, wow.
And Maggie Smith, Daniel Day-Lewis, Judi Dench, Julian Sands. I think I want to watch this movie.
Well, it sounds like more fun.
It's based on a E.M. Forster novel. Yeah, look, this movie did not change my mind about war movies.
Here's my problem with it, is I feel like he wants, we did some messed up stuff. He's like trying to address the war crimes.
Yeah.
But he wants everybody to feel good about it.
He does want to get excused for it, which, I mean, psychologically, I get that. I'm not going to...
I guess, but...
Take that away from him. Vietnam was hard to deal with for people who came back.
This is like 10 years later, and it's made for mass appeal. I don't,
Yeah, but it's his experiences. On some level, this was a confessional movie. Even if the war crimes didn't play out plot-wise exactly like... he saw some shit, and he got wounded twice. Like, I'm going to give him a pass on... The happy ending-ish. It's not even a happy ending. It's a very sad ending.
Yeah, I mean, he kills the guy.
But the rationalizing voiceovers, I'm like, that's fine. Whatever you got to tell yourself, man. That sounds like it sucks to live with.
Okay, yeah, that sucks.
That's the highest praise I can give this movie.
It's like it's acceptable if you had to fight in Vietnam. Oh wait, he volunteered.
You know what? I bet this was a...
God damn it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That does... Again, always put a stupid spin on things. Whatever.
Think about if you got drafted and you were in the shit.
Yeah.
And then Oliver Stone volunteered to fight, right?
Yeah.
And he fought, he got injured. Sure, good for him. Then he makes this movie that makes him look like a goddamn morally upright, shining star.
Yeah.
That also wants to eat his cake about like, oh man, you got the angel and the devil. You did the right thing the whole time. There's nothing that character does. That's
There's one time when he makes the one-legged guy dance. Like that was his chance not to.
Oh, you're right. I forgot
turn
about
to
that.
the good side.
Yeah.
Getting egged on by Matt Dillon's brother.
That's right. There's like a one-legged dude in the village.
Yeah.
Who obviously can't be a North Vietnamese soldier. And
who's I think also something touched.
It looked like he had some mental stuff too, and he's
Yeah.
just like yelling at him and shooting at his not foot
That was not a convincing scene.
to make him hot. It came out of nowhere too. Like
The
I said,
level of anger was.
he went from
Yeah.
he went from Gomer Pyle to Crazy Soldier. I don't have an example, but he just spun from incompetent new recruit to like snapped shooting at a crippled Vietnamese villager immediately, and then immediately like
snapped back.
then he snapped back and stopped the rape and like joined Willem Dafoe on the good guy team.
Yeah.
Like nothing ever happened.
It was, yeah, it was definitely like forced. His little character arc through the darkness. I wish I hadn't seen this movie.
So
even though it's not a bad movie.
Let's not go to war in Cambodia again.
No.
I guess. And oh man, I wish there had been one other Best Picture nominee that clearly deserved it.
I know, that would have made me feel better. I'm gonna check out that other British movie. It's probably boring, but it's got a lot of cool people in it. This movie had a lot of cool people in it.
I feel like I've learned. Because I've never had somebody be like, "Oh, you haven't seen Platoon?" You know what I mean? Not a single human being.
No.
Has ever wondered why I have it. It's just very bland after everything.
It does feel like your vegetables. Like this is an eat your vegetables movie.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's a realistic movie about Vietnam.
Yep.
It's the Schindler's List of Vietnam.
Sure.
Duncan,
yeah.
Thank you for watching this movie with me.
Sure. It's a great way to spend a Monday.
You have something big just happened. Do you want to talk about
sure.
what's out there for this? Is going to be out after the release, so
okay. I just released a stand-up comedy album. Whoa.
Your debut.
My debut CD. That's such a weird, like, I'm 34. I'm like, hey, it's my debut album, guys.
Well, if you make several, that's what it'll be, right?
Theoretically.
You should make several.
Oh, good lord.
Is this one hard enough?
This one
was this your platoon?
This is my platoon. Okay. You know? It's really the best version of myself that I'm pretending to be up there. You can go at surethinrecords.com and get it at some point in the future whenever you listen to this.
Yeah, it'll probably be on iTunes and whatnot, right?
iTunes.
Yeah.
I'm actually streaming it everywhere. You can listen to it on Spotify right now.
Woohoo!
I'm being a guinea pig. Brent and I, we've done Sure Thing Records for a few years now.
Yeah.
And everybody's always like, oh, don't put it to stream first.
No one will
buy it. And we're like, I don't feel like enough people won't buy it.
And you get paid for the streams.
That it wouldn't be worth...
I mean, not a lot, but...
I mean, that it wouldn't be worth just, like, it being out there on all the... Because it's not just Spotify.
Yeah.
It's, like, Apple Music and Tidal and, like, all these fucking crazy European ones you're never going to hear. But you can just put it on all of them at once, and it just gets out there.
Yeah.
And that's better.
So it's out there.
Yeah.
It's better. It's called Pointless.
Duncan Carson, Pointless. Just look it up.
Go check it out. It's very funny. A lot less depressing than this movie made us both seem.
This was fun.
This is not a good showcase for our senses of humor. Because this movie was just...
Well, and that's it, because, like...
slog.
Because, like, that's what sucked about it, is because it's 80% forgettable dialogue and nothing happening. And then the bit of a plot we can make fun of. There's a lot to work with.
It's true.
If there had been more plot, it would have been equally ridiculous and fruitful.
Hopefully next week I'll get a plot. Duncan's not going to get anything. we blew his water in Platoon. I'm sorry.
Oh, and I do. It's new and it's just a 45-minute breezy thing, but I did bring back my podcast.
Sincere Tweets?
Sincere Tweets
is back.
With John Mendoza as my co-host.
Yes.
And so just find that on Podbean. It's pretty Sincere Tweets.
Yes.
And we talk about life and anxiety and feelings and stuff.
Yeah. Focus on the reboot. Don't go back to the old one where I talk about things that I haven't listened to in 3 years, and I'm sure are embarrassing at this
the
point.
original no longer exists.
Okay, phew.
Which is, and you ruined it anyway.
I ruined it?
In the first place.
What?
I've told this story a lot where I was just trying to do like a Austin-based, you made it weird, about comedy and open mics and stuff in 2012. And you were like, oh, cool, I've got a big announcement. This will be great. And I was like, cool, do you want to tell me what it is before we record? And you were like, no. Wait till we start the podcast. And I was like, cool, this is what do you...
Because if you listen to this podcast, I don't like people being prepared for anything.
What could this possibly
happen.
be?
Yeah.
It's no big deal. I'm sure it's just something, boof, I'm a woman. Oh, cool. Let's have a nuanced and it was a great conversation.
You did a wonderful job. It was a great conversation.
No, it was very fascinating and interesting. And then the next week, I was like, what do I just ask somebody how they order a set? Who gives a shit? It was... Obviously, that was another primary reason I stopped doing it, but it was the last one of that.
Well, don't have me back.
Absolutely have you back.
And obviously, when you make a podcast, have a very rigid format, and that shit won't happen to you.
Oh, sure.
See, nobody can do that to me.
Well, now it's years later, and I have no rigid format.
Yeah.
And I think I could talk about more than just comedy.
That's true. That's true.
With depth.
You've had some life experience.
I mean, I haven't been to Vietnam. Fine.
Not yet. You could always volunteer. I volunteer for combat in Vietnam.
What are you doing?
John McCain's death spurred me to go fight for freedom.
Don't.
I'm sorry. I'll cut that.
Nah, I'll leave it in.
All right, fine.
All right.
Also, Sure Thing, the show, every Friday, 9:30, Fallout Theater. If you're in Austin, you already know about it.
Yep.
If you're not and you're swinging through town, go see it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I'll see you next time with a more plot-heavy movie. Rate us on Spotify. We're on Spotify, too.
Hey.
Rate us on iTunes. Can you rate things on Spotify?
You can't. I feel like you can like it.
You can go to SoundCloud and make comments on various parts. You can yell at us on any platform you listen on it. I just need more ratings, so I'm begging you.
You've been doing good on the listening, on the downloads. Right?
Things are going okay. Things are going well. I feel like the whole podcast episode is starting over right now. How you doing? Things are going well.
Let's just get in there. What? No, thanks for having me.
Thanks. All right. Bye, everybody.